Riders! There's a saying, you cannot change what you are not aware of. But once you become aware, you cannot help but change. So, small disclaimer, this is my interpretation of the whole thing. I'm done talking about it. It's been through the roof, or it's just been overdone. But now that we have everybody kind of involved in talking, this is my interpretation, and so it should be taken as that. Bobby Reagan, owner of Star Over there, had an interview with Michael Lindsay on Vital MX here. Great interview. Michael did a very unbiased job with doing it. It was awesome. You should go subscribe to them. And this is just me with a small little overview, adding to the conversation.
Part in there that nobody heard of before, because there's not one in that bike. And the pro bike, maybe so. But in that bike, that was an amateur bike, and it was... But it did have some of the stuff that we run on the pro side, and that had identifying marks on some of the parts in there that we didn't want to get out.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there is the problem. Some parts that you didn't want to get let out. And I asked the question, what is the definition of an amateur motorcycle if you can kind of commingle certain parts on the pro side to the amateur side? There needs some clarification in the rule book at what constitutes an amateur bike is really the only question that I'm asking here.
The bike, from what I understand, DeFrancisco is trying to sell his bike for $42,000 right now. To spend $17,000 and to get a $50,000 bike is pretty good deal.
What? All right, so what I'm reading at is that, Rider D, bike $42,000, and Yamaha bike, potentially $50,000. It's a good deal with the claiming rule, $17,000, and you get a bike that's worth double. 100% gain, just boom, instantly. That is some good equity that motorcycles usually don't have. But again, why is it so expensive? It's pushing everybody out of racing because of a amateur bike is $50,000. What the hell is a pro bike then? If that's really the case, 100,000, 150,000, 200, just going out there, probably. Again, that's why we need to have a clear definition of what constitutes an amateur motorcycle. Not taking anything away from incredible riders that are on the amateur teams, the Deegans of the world, because they are good riders, but they are that much better because they've got very, very expensive equipment underneath them, and it's damn near impossible to match somebody that's incredibly talented, and then once they have equipment you're just going to be that much further behind, and that's not how I believe it should be in the amateurs. And he goes on to just say how much of an amateur bike it is, and therefore again, what is the definition of an amateur motorcycle? If you can have essentially an unlimited budget like that, that's freaking incredible. Abso-effing incredible. So the final thoughts on this is claiming rule should stay the same as far as the cost, but it should be changed needs to be an adult to have the money. And also there should be an amend stating that there should be no added sponsorship or bribery to withdraw a claim. And then the last thing is, what really is an amateur bike? If you can kind of put pro parts on an amateur bike and still have it considered to be amateur because the pro stuff is that much better. At least that's what I'm reading into it. One added thing that I have to talk about is, if you saw my last interview with Brennan, I told him that, hey, start his YouTube channel, get on the Patreon boat, and start a GoFundMe because he lost 5 motorcycles. And a lot of people were talking in the comments, it weren't exactly that friendly. They were using, hey, he's got $17,000 of his own money. Why doesn't he just go buy bikes? Why are we giving him money? Guys, there's nothing wrong with asking for support. This was just asking for support for this kid, and he got some backlash for it, which was sad to see. I don't see any problem with helping a kid out. especially when he made racing a lot more effing affordable for everyone out there, because factories, HRC, Star Yamaha, Pro Circuit, Rockstar Husqvarna, these guys are going to think twice than to bring unobtainium, very expensive shit to the races to go race. The playing field is getting closer to being more fair, is my opinion. Brennan, keep doing you, buddy, and just hold it WFO. This is Johnny F. and Hopper. Bra-da-da-da-da-da.